was living a lie. In the darkness, I was scared of the light. With no direction, I was running away. Step aside, enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride.
Enter Family Innocence, and we're going to do another role play, but I'm going to set up the role play a little bit because you're going to be all doing this as advocates, right? So I'm hoping and praying. So you're going to have an orientation. So you're going to have this tool along with, in your book, the fees and things like that. So when we do the orientation, remember it's $25, which some people think is too much, actually, because they don't know. They have no idea what they're getting into. And $25 each, and then you do what's called an orientation. And you'll have a whole packet that Lori's working on that everybody will just have to say, okay, I have every tool I need to do this, including all this. So this has already been done to the Bundys before. The Bundys have already gone through this. With what's happened is the Bundys have now decided to talk with an advocate of Family Innocence. And so we are role-playing an advocate right now. And I think, who decided that they wanted to be the advocate? Okay, so we got a brave Karen. She's going to play the advocate. And so what Karen's going to do basically is she's going to go through this. And you saw it last week, right? So we'll go through it very quickly. But Karen, do you want to do that? She's going to go through it with the Bundys. Let's just have her go through it with the Bundys. We're moving the table, and now we're in circle with the Bundys. So Karen's the one who asked about what an advocate is. Really, they're just advocating for the non-adversarial process. They're out there like Christine was. You got to do this instead. Part of this is real life, because when I met Louisa, she was doing traditional mediation, and she was a lay person doing mediation, which is amazing. That's what I loved about her, because there's not too many that earn a living full time doing that. Lawyers have gotten involved in it, and so anyway, she actually we went out to Colorado together and did some circle work. She's done circle work, and we went out, and then she came back and co-facilitated a Family Innocence mediation. So we're going to I'm going to be Mrs. Bundy. We're going to get Lori facilitating. Okay, so Lori's going to, Peg Bundy. We're going to have Lori facilitating, okay? So she's facilitating. She's been an advocate, and now she's facilitating kind of for the first time. We're going to have Karen be the advocate, and then we're going to have Louisa, like she was at our first mediation, kind of co-facilitating. Yeah, come on in. We're going to have Louisa co-facilitating.
What's the difference between the advocate, the facilitator, and the co-facilitator?
The co-facilitator, well, the advocate, first of all, is just here to support the family. She doesn't really, she listens. We're modeling that. She's the listener. She's not the fixer, the bottom liner, all those four things. She doesn't do any of that. She keeps track of what we do in mediation. It's great to have an advocate. She does the scheduling. She helps with the agreements at the end, because we do an agreement at the end of every circle, some kind of agreed action, even if it's just to come back to the circle.
So she really takes care of the details to let the facilitator focus on the situation. Mm-hmm. They don't have to worry about the details.
We all share in that, but yes, the advocate is somebody that when the couple comes in, they're looking at the situation a little a little differently. And then you have the co-facilitation. Like when I've been co-facilitating with Louisa, I'm kind of the lead facilitator. Sometimes she'll be the lead. So Louisa's more just there to help support me, and vice versa, because it's hard to explain. But it's not even really a lead. And then when we do, see it in your materials, we do the pre-facilitate, like before we walk in, if we have judgments and things like that, we can kind of get them off our chest and make sure we're and Tom wants to talk.
And part of an advocate or co-facilitator too is, again, like what Michelle said too, why we like to have 2 or 3 people, and especially a man and a woman, is it really helps the communication open up for the people. They feel more willing to open up when there's another, nonpartisan interest in the group. And so when they have an ear, like I said, sometimes they'll sit there and they start talking to the advocate, and directing it, and the advocate's just listening but it just helps them open up and start the process. So it's really just a neutral person to really just help them let their emotions and all their communication open up.
I've seen Tom in an advocate role a couple times in this particular co-facilitated circle. And you've also offered, I don't know, it's kind of like it's comfort in some ways to, an advocacy role is kind of to take up for somebody or to be there for somebody, and you're on their side, feeling safe, those kinds of things. And in this particular circle, restorative mediation, that Michelle and I are co-facilitating with both women. And this is a divorce. And I think it's nice for the guy to have at least some male energy in the room. It worked without fine, but I think that it did balance things a little bit. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. Yeah, I definitely agree. And you'll just see the light bulb go off on people's head when they finally get what we're doing. And the advocate, I mean, the role's evolving. It's different in every case. But I think what they're doing is advocating for you to stay out of the adversary process without saying that. Without, like Lori, she always explains, I'm an advocate and I went through this process. So she will probably do that a little bit in circle next. But that's always comforting. I always see them go, oh, wow, somebody here that went through this process, And I always saw the advocate as walking you through a process. Most people have never. I see an attorney as an advocate of walking somebody through a process. And like, remember I said, see, do, teach. You watched it, you're doing it, now you're going to teach it. So Lori's, here teaching. She's watched it, she's done it, now she's going to teach it. And I see as another thing I see is that you're an expert in something if you've done it one more time than the next person. Like if I had gone skydiving, and was saying, hey, want to go skydiving with me? Let's, and you were like a little curious about skydiving, you're helping me by just being there because you've done it before. If you've been through court before, if you've been through Family Innocence before, I've been through court with thousands and thousands of times. So I've been the advocate too. So you've done it before. So you're walking them through. And what I mean by walking, and I want to say this, when you're walking somebody, you don't run ahead and pull them, come on. Or you're behind them, pushing them. That happens as you go through, but you're trying to walk with them. So somebody might walk a little faster, and then you're trying to catch up. And, then what happens in the process is you develop this walking with them, and we're all kind of walking with them at their pace. Everybody's walking together. Do you agree?
I do.
Absolutely, I agree. This is what the process is all about, is walking with someone. And it's just, I just agree. I do. That's what it's about.
So we will be the Bundys coming into Family Innocence. And so typically what happens is we're going to go out again. Okay. And then they're going to model what happens in our office. And then we're going to sit in circle, do the be still, do the listening and all that. Okay. And well, for sake of the class, we've already signed the participation agreement. Usually that's presented. And we've even had issues where people are like, well, it's a consent process. They don't want to sign it. They want to read it first. We've had all different kinds of things. And then they're saying, where's that thing you wanted me to sign at the beginning? So we never here it is, sign it. So anyway, we're going to leave and see how this looks, because we're going to have Lori facilitating for the first time, basically, and then a newer advocate, and then Louisa, who has been co-facilitating with me, and then I'm going to do the role play. So we'll try to give you an idea.
Questions?
The PowerPoint, and I do remember part of it. Do you, last week we just went, oh, here's page 1, here's page 2, page. Is there kind of context that you talk people through it, or just show it?
The PowerPoint is for you through this training. It's not something that you use in the process. I think that what Michelle was doing is taking us back through the training of the circle process, which are these the slides that are the beige slides. There's definitely conversation about the process and the talking piece, and there's a ton of time invested in the listening exercise, which I thought at first took a lot of time, and now I realize how important it is. And the fact that we didn't do it with the parties first, so you would split up if it's a co-facilitated process. So I would go with one party and the other would go with another party. And it is awkward at first because people don't necessarily know what they've signed up for. Because it's not, oh, we're going to sit in circle and talk about your divorce or whatever the issue is. It may not be a divorce, but in this instance, it's post-decree after the divorce. In the situation that we're actively engaging in real life with parties, this particular case is a divorce, and it's just been such an interesting experience working with them and seeing the changes that have occurred as a result of going through this process with both of the parties, and seeing an improvement in communication. It's almost like teaching skills that, had they been taught 20 years earlier, would have maybe sustained their marriage. Very, very interesting. It's all about communication. So it's not even about marriage. It's about all kinds of communications. And, I'm thinking about some miscommunications with a friend of mine where the aha moment actually went off in both of our heads. It's a relatively new friendship. And there were a lot of assumptions about how each other was behaving. And she actually, in my opinion, her behavior was not acceptable to me because it was not very nice. Like, the things that were being said were not nice, but I kind of lent into it with compassion. And when we were really able to talk, she admitted it was all fear-based. That she said those things because she was scared of maybe trusting or being vulnerable. So if you push the person away, it's so much better. And then for me, I have this challenge sometimes outside of circle in particular to want to say something, but it's not because I don't want to listen. It's because I actually want the person to know that I'm vested in the conversation. And some people don't like that because they don't feel like they're being heard, which goes back to that listening exercise, right? That you get to listen without judgment, even if you're itching to say something. And she recognized that it wasn't me being disrespectful intentionally, even though it wasn't working for her, but it was that I was wanting her to know that I was present. So it's so interesting seeing what happens in this process in circle when there's conflict, whatever the conflict is, and how people go, I never knew you felt that way, but yet they've been married over 20 years. It just kind of blows me away. This was filler.
Thank you. All right, so we will proceed, and Peg and Al Bundy they're coming to Family Innocence right now, so just be patient. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Lori. How are you? How are you, Peg? Glad you're here today. And Al, hi, Lori. Nice to see you today. Glad you're here. Why don't you come on in and follow me? Welcome to Family Innocence, and we've got Louisa and Karen here. So come on in and grab a seat. I'm glad you're here. Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Karen.
Hi, nice to meet you. How are you?
Hi, I'm Louisa. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Tom. Or Al. I'm sorry.
Do you want me to sit? Yeah, why don't you sit here, Peg? That's fine, that's great. Before we begin, would you, either of you like anything to drink? We have some water or coffee available. Actually, we have some soda as well. Donuts.
Oh, some
Yeah, donuts too. We have some donuts. Would you like anything, want anything while we're... Water, let me get some water. And Al?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Would you like some water? All right. Water, Lori?
Why don't you
Water? I'm good, thank you.
Why don't you not tell me what to do?
All right. Okay, we'll just get situated here. And just so you know, there's a bathroom also just down the hall and to the right as well if you need to use the bathroom. And feel free to get up. You have to go. It's okay. Just like, it's okay. You can just feel free. We want you to be comfortable. So, anyhow, so. Here. All right. All right.
Well, good morning. Just thank you for being here. I'm glad that you are here today. So for choosing, thank you both for choosing to be here today. Before we begin, so we're all settled in, everyone's got everything that they need. We're all good to go, drinks, and so we can begin. Before we begin, one of the first things that in this process, this Family Innocence process, that we believe is very important to begin is what we call a be still moment, and just taking some time to just sit quietly and reflect on maybe your life or just whatever comes to you, really. So just take a moment, and you can stare at something in the room, you can close your eyes, do whatever you're comfortable doing in this moment. And then we'll do that for a little while, and when one of us is ready to share what is coming to you, just go ahead and just say, I'm ready to share, and we'll give you that opportunity to share. So why don't we just do that really quick?
Do I have to close my eyes?
No, you do not. To do whatever you feel comfortable doing. Yeah.
So you want me to say something?
Yes.
Okay. What's coming up for me is this is an impossible task. I am hopeful that finally he'll get it, and we can come to some agreement. But I'm just hopeful right now, and I had really bad traffic getting here, and I'm nervous about today. That's what's coming up for me.
I'm glad that I can be here today as a calming influence for both of you. I think that both of you need to have some sort of a calming influence so that you can just breathe through this process and be here and be present to listen to each other.
What I'm hearing is that there seems to be this calmness, and I'm truly hope that we can be there. And that includes you, Peg. I mean, I really feel that, we're here to work on our issues, and all we've ever done is argued, and we've argued always. So if this is a process that we can do it more peacefully, and there's people here that that they're caring and they want to be part of our process. So, I'm hoping that, I'm hoping I can be heard more, because it seems like the whole justice system is just unfair towards men, and I really just feel that I want to be heard and have a fairness.
For me, I'm here as a co-facilitator. I might offer some insight, and this be still moment is always good for me because it allows me to put aside all of the other things that are in my head that impact my ability to be here present with you. And so I'm in the moment, and hopefully what I have to offer as support will assist the two of you to be able to talk with one another in a more peaceful way. So I'm hopeful. That was a good word, Peg. Hopeful. I like the fact that you said that.
For me, I just, Lori here. I'm Lori again as the facilitator here today with you, and glad to be here with all of you today. Again, I am so thankful for you, Peg and Al, to have chosen to be here today. So I look forward to working with you and others. So good. That was really, really good. And now the next thing that we believe here at Family Innocence is important is to do a listening exercise. And what this will consist of is we will partner up two of you together. Peg and Al, we will not have you together. We'll have you, Peg, go with either Karen or Louisa and vice versa, so you're not together at this time. And what you're going to do for these 2 minutes, we're going to have you two of you go to a little, or you can just stay even there. I mean, it's fine. We'll just stay right where we're at, but we'll probably have you two together as long as you're sitting next to each other. And you're going to be going with Karen, Peg. You can turn towards each other, and also Al and Louisa, if you two wouldn't mind partnering up to do this listening exercise.
Talk about something again, I'm sorry.
Yep, and
Get me.
Yep, good question. What you'll be doing, Al and Peg and Karen and Louisa, what you're going to be doing for these 2 minutes, one of you decide to speak first, and what you'll be doing is just sharing a conflict that's in your life, and you get the opportunity to speak for 2 minutes, and this will be timed. And
Why tell about my conflict?
It cannot be with anyone that is in the room. A conflict that doesn't involve anybody else in the room. So try to think of another conflict.
So what, can it be like just traffic that I'm coming here?
Yes.
Or-
It can be any conflict, big or small, whatever conflict that comes to you that you like to share.
I have to talk about that? Okay.
Yes, we will give you 2 minutes. However, if you do not have anything to say for the entire 2 minutes, then just be quiet and just sit there until the 2 minutes is up. We're asking the listener to not respond, to not interrogate, to not respond in any way. Just listen to the one who is speaking for that 2 minutes. And whether there's nothing being said or not, still sit there quietly until the 2 minutes is up.
2 whole minutes?
Yes. Yep. So I'll tell you when to begin, and then when your time of speaking is over and the 2 minutes is up, we will give the other person the opportunity to speak of a conflict that you'll be sharing to them, and they will sit and listen the same way that you listen to them. So
If the audience wants to do it, because we're really going to do this, just pair up and do it for 2 minutes. Let's just do that.
yeah, if you want to do that as well, just so you're being involved throughout this exercise, all the rest of you go ahead and partner up with someone and do the exact same thing with them. It's if you want to just be included in this moment. You do not have to if you don't want. So you're ready? I'm going to get the timer going here, everyone. Just one moment. Okay, go ahead and start. Go ahead and start.
I'm an engineer, and I had some plans done, and I took them to the post office. And I had them send certified mail to an address. Paid the extra money, I waited in line, it was busy as it always is at the post office, and then I make it. So I pay the fee that they asked for. Get their certificate, get a receipt for certified mail. They said your letter will be there in 2 days. And I paid this extra fee, like insurance. They didn't ask to have it signed. We have an extra fee, but they said this certified mail will guarantee. Well, lo and behold, I checked 1 week later, the packages, and they give you this, they say check online. So I'm checking online, and the package is still undelivered. Well, this is really I paid an extra fee, it's certified mail. How can it not be delivered? So I went back to the post office after a week, giving them twice as many days as what they said that they would do. Still is not delivered. So at the post office, I waited again in line, and I said, okay, here's my certified letter. Tell me where this letter is. And they said, oh. Well, we don't know. Why don't you give it 2 or 3 more days? I said, but I paid your extra fee. This is your job. This is what you said it's supposed to be there. And the address is supposed to be there. If it's not, where is it? Well, we don't know. And I said, well, then shouldn't I be right letter back? It's got a return letter or a return address. If it's not there, it should be delivered. Well, why don't you give it 1 more week? So I go back 1 week later. So now after what should have been there 2 days is now 14 days. Go back, wait in line again. They still don't have any idea. He said, well, it says tracking, and it's still tracking. So I said, well, what does that mean? I said, I can read that on my computer.
Okay, the time is up. So now we will have you switch. So the one that was listening will now speak for 2 minutes. And ready to go. Here we go.
Oh, what kind of conflict? Does he have? Does he come over? Once in a while, he's just so busy. I did lay on the ground today. His car was trying to get here, and she wanted to get into the lane that's the fast lane. After having to pay for it, because it's down to 494 this morning, so she must not have seen that, because I had to like slam on the brake and change lanes. And I just noticed the conversation I had with myself, because I really didn't have to do what I did, but I went, and then when I went by her, I went, but I wouldn't look at her. So he's getting to look at her, and then I thought, Why did I react to that? You're doing it so you're just creative. I keep thinking
Didn't kill anybody. Should have
because we can also do
pulled out, but
it's just
I figured it out and I was fine. Kind of spent a lot of time wondering why I do that because the
state certified and then also
you know,
that's like this
because
shadows course.
Nice.
It has
So
all
I
the
think it's 'cause I
elements,
was
but we're actually doing
annoyed at
everything.
myself and I was late when I needed to be.
Why do you
But at the same time, I didn't want to rush, so I really didn't want to be smoochy. I didn't know.
So, I guess it's not really a conflict, but it's just like, I feel good about it. But I feel like, why did, I'm feeling very
Dog before. So I
you know,
have 3
that,
dogs.
that this, and I know it's
So one of
gonna
them I
be
named.
epic, and I know, I'm trying to do the book so that anybody here can just take it and run with it, right? I can go all over the world.
All right. We are finished with the listening exercise. If we were to all gather back in our circle, that'd be great. All right. So, well, here we are. We're back in our circle. I'd like to find out, and anyone can speak to this, and we all can speak to this. If everyone, just know that we're here and we're all here to listen or share whatever that is. So my question right now is who would like to speak to this, and all of us could. What did it feel like to talk, to share your voice?
It was nice to be able to speak and have somebody listen to you and not cut you off and give you eye rolls and be judgmental. And so it was nice to have somebody hear what you had to say. As far as listening, from what it's hard to really just listen without having your judgments and saying, well, if you did this or blah, blah, blah. So that was the hardest part, just to sit back and really take it in and not be disruptive, to actually, go the full 2 minutes without, I know I nodded, so it was kind of cheating. So to try to listen was, I thought that was the hardest part, is not trying to help or to cut off and have your opinion on it.
For me, it was hard to come up with a conflict with somebody not in the room. But I came up with one. It seemed like silly, but I guess it was a conflict because I didn't think I had any. And then all of a sudden I started talking about something and I was like, wow, I mean, that is bothering me. So I thought I didn't have anything to talk about. And I did. I was able to talk for the whole 2 minutes. But part of what I started out with is just saying, I can't find a conflict. I'm not sure what you mean, but she was just watching me, and so she was listening to me, and I really felt like she was really listening to my conflict, and it felt good. It felt really, really good to just have somebody listen, and yeah, I enjoyed it.
For me, talking is very easy. I could talk and talk and talk, and 2 minutes isn't enough. That's just who I am, and I can just talk. I love it that I can talk and there's someone listening on the other end. It's really nice. However, I will say I really do appreciate other people's insight. But what's good about it is getting that insight at the right time and not just blurting out, in the middle of when I'm talking. But I still do appreciate that insight. It's just getting at the right time. So it's a great, I like this exercise. It really teaches you to listen, and then it does give you an opportunity to speak to something at the right time. Louisa or Karen, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think when I first learned about this conflict and talking about conflicts, I wasn't sure if I was thinking to myself, I don't have any conflicts. Oh, wait, maybe I do have a couple of conflicts. And so understanding the conflict portion of it and what really is a conflict is, and sometimes I think it's easier to go first, but sometimes it's easier to go second because you think of things after somebody said something. And to be able to just talk and listen, I like that.
I think for me, it's practice in listening. Can never get enough practice. It's very easy to have an opinion or to think that if I'm saying something, that's what the other person wants, but it isn't necessarily the case. So it's always good practice for me for listening.
All right, great. Well, good. I'm glad that you all felt that was a great experience. And you learned something in that process. So, so now I'd like us to, or what I'd like to show you is our circle guidelines. We will be about to begin this process right now. But before we do, I'd like to review our circle guidelines. So first of all, number 1, the circle is voluntary. You are here on a consent process. You're here by consent, and you can also leave by consent. So again, you being here is totally voluntary. Respect the talking piece. This microphone will be our talking piece today. So when you have it, that is your opportunity to talk and others listen. So this will be the talking piece as we move forward. Respect the talking piece that is in your hand. Listen when it's in another person's hands. Everyone has an equal opportunity to speak. And you may pass the talking piece. This shouldn't be here. We actually want to eliminate this. Try to be brief and to the point. We actually are welcome you to speak really for however long you need to. There's something you need to share, you need to do it and share it. And you don't have to be brief and to the point. So actually, we like to take that off of there.
So I have a question again. So just kind of going back just to make sure. So when it says respect the talking piece, is that kind of like what we just learned about when we're talking, that we just have to listen? So when the other person has the talking piece, we don't interrupt? Is that what that is?
Are you saying that I interrupt?
Let's let Lori.
Basically, that exercise is what yes, exactly. That is basically what has transpired by going through that exercise. However, we actually do have a talking piece. In this particular case, it is our microphone. We have other talking pieces that we use, and it's just it's just a piece that basically is, I'm not sure how I can, actually, Louisa, could you speak to what more would you say about why the talking piece, why something in that hand versus just going the listening exercise without something in the hand?
I think you did a good job, Laurie, at talking about the talking piece and the use of it. And in response to your specific question, it is modeling listening. Because as we live in our world, we don't practice listening. And it's a good opportunity to experience what it feels like that you only get to speak when you're actually holding the talking piece. Whatever it may be, in this case, the microphone, doesn't mean we aren't going to make a mistake, because that's gonna happen a little bit. But the beauty of it is that you will automatically, when you're in circle, know that the person with the talking piece has the voice. And finally, it goes along with, it really, really helps people who traditionally don't speak out because they're so used to being cut off in conversation. They're so used to being told to be quiet, and so they just don't speak. So it's the first time, perhaps, for some that they've been listened to. And other times, one who speaks a lot learns to feel a little uncomfortable even though they want to speak, that this is where they're going to refrain from speaking. Does that help?
It does. Thank you. Al, are you comfortable with that answer?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll continue with the circle guidelines. Number 4 is speak from the heart with honesty and compassion. And actually, I'd like to add, and I believe we've talked about adding this to this, is listen from the heart as well. Speak in a good way, be respectful and kind. Number 6, all people are treated equally. All ideas are equally important. All decisions are made by consensus. Our circle is confidential, and ask for permission to share stories outside the circle. Does anybody have any other questions?
Not so much a question. I'm curious if anyone in the circle has other guidelines that they might like to add to this list that are important for them.
So we're in a circle right now? What is this exactly? I in the orientation, in the orientation there was a little bit about restorative circles. Okay, I get it. All right. So I never have done this before. So I answered my own question. Thank you. So why would you pay an attorney $7,000 to just draft a little petition?
I just have nothing to add at this point.
I'm not greedy, okay?
Yes, Peg, you're greedy. That's it.
You're the greedy one.
That bike is sexy. Growing up, I was living a lie. In the darkness, I was scared of the light. With no direction, I was running away. I tried to cover that I'm losing my mind. Chapter, why not give it a try? This hopeful journey needs an open mind to discover the treasure inside. Never see the truth until you look past the lies. Mother Nature is waiting for you to arrive. Step by side, step by side, enjoy the ride. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do, 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 do. La, la.
So Michelle is going to leave us with the Family Innocence theme song. We know it's going to be catching on everywhere. So take it away, Michelle.
And I won't have my husband Tom sing with me this time.
Or me.
You guys are all blessed.
Okay. Camera. Start spreading the bird, beginning today. We want to be no part of it, the family court. The bird is the word. It's flying away to make a brand new start of it. No family court. We want to wake up in a household where we can sleep instead of fearing a judge ready to peep. These family court blows are melting away. We will get to the heart of it with no delay. If we can do it here, we'll do it everywhere. No family court, no family court. One more line. If it is not a crime, we are not doing time in family court. No